I do want to talk about the additional revenue streams, but what were these books about?
Sure. The first one, Disloyal, a memoir. It was the true story of the former personal attorney to Donald J. Trump. It was written actually while Cohen was under house arrest. And if you remember, he was released to house arrest due to COVID, but then he was put back in jail, largely because it looked like he might be violent. The Trump Department of Justice was arguing that this was violating terms of his release. He ended up getting cleared and was able to publish it. The second book, Revenge, How Donald Trump Weaponized the Department of Justice Against His Critics, obviously goes back and looks at some of the difficulties that that Cohen had getting that first book out.
And let's talk about the additional revenue streams. He has a podcast. Tell us about that. Is it successful?
I think it's incredibly successful since, especially the episode that had me on it. But no, overall, overall, it is doing pretty well. It's released 350 episodes, which is certainly a really good run for a podcast, and it's amongst the Chartable, which is a rating service owned by Spotify, ranks it amongst the top 350 podcasts in the United States. Which at first may not sound all that impressive, but when you think of just the sheer volume of podcasts out there, all the stuff from the New York Times, This American Life, all this stuff that's just constantly, Joe Rogan, that's going to constantly be at the top of the charts. 350 from Michael Cohen, I think, is a very respectable ranking there.
Whenever we talk about Michael Cohen, it's really interesting because you said earlier he did perjure himself on the stand before, and now he's had that change of heart. He's written 2 anti-Trump books. He has that podcast. Is he a reliable witness here?
Based on the testimony he gave last week in the New York Attorney General's trial, no. They walked out of that, and Trump's team walked out of that and was very happy with their cross-examination of Cohen. They kind of caught him on all sorts of little problems there. And, I highly recommend going back and reading Dan Alexander, my editor at Forbes, his analysis of it. He was in the courtroom, and the articles are up there on Forbes, as well as Allison Durkee here at Forbes, who's also been covering it. Cohen has proven not to be a great witness on the stand. I don't think it's really going to matter that much in this trial because the crux of the New York Attorney General's argument is in documents. Michael Cohen was there to kind of give voice to what the documents said, but there's all sorts of financial documents, internal emails, and that's really, I think, the evidence that's going to matter the most for the judge.